Hello, 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 hello. My name is Campbell Eccles and this is Stitch Therapy. And also, this is the person who does Cam Echo is Stitching. I am returning to Stitch Therapy. Oh, what? I know. So, and here's why. I decided that I've been sort of merging Stitch Therapy and Cam Echo is Stitching. And never say never, guys. When you think something's over, never say never, because here it is. We're doing Stitch Therapy again. And yes, as you will notice, the number is, I'm just continuing on with my Stitch Therapy numbers. So those of you that know Stitch Therapy and from the previous incarnation, I'm just going to continue on with the wacky stuff that I did. So instead of trying to merge thrift shop gifting and giveawaying and all kinds of things that I find, and I'm just going to go ahead and do Stitch Therapy again, and then this will be the place where I will show my WIPs, my thrift shop finds, happy mail, stitchy goodness, and also I would like to introduce people have been starting to send me emails with their pictures of their stitching. And so I want to share stitchy goodness from other people out there. If anybody wants to send in pictures to show me their stitching, because I am so inspired. In this video, I'm going to do a section of two people that sent me pictures of their stitching, and you're going to get a chance to see some of their stuff that they're working on, and they're not YouTubers. They just sent me stuff because I said, "Hey, send me what you're stitching," and they did. And so Stitch Therapy is back, better than ever, bigger, badder, better than ever, with lots of dogs and animals and stuff. All right. So if you got through this much of the video, thank you. If you'd like to like and subscribe, click, ding, that would be great. And then you'll get notifications for Stitch Therapy. You'll also probably get notifications for Cam Echo is Stitching, because they're both on the same YouTube platform. I didn't make a brand new channel for either one of them. So, so you'll get 2 in 1. Cam Echo is Stitching is going to be a stitchy channel where you can just go to Cam Echo is Stitching and you can stitch along. I'll do an intro, I'll say hi, and then we'll just jump right into stitching. And in the great tradition of Stitch Therapy, I want to talk about what happened last year and kind of like the therapeutic part of cross-stitching and what has gotten me back. I think I expressed this before with y'all, but so I deal, I'm not going to say suffer with, but I deal with some pretty severe seasonal affective disorder, right? Now, many people say, oh, seasonal affective depression. For me, it's an interesting phenomena because this year I have been managing it better than last year. And there are ways that I have done that, and things that I have learned from this year, from last year. And you guys saw that closing last video of Flosstube and all of that. It's interesting to review some of those videos from earlier Stitch Therapy incarnation. And yes, in this video, I will bring you up to date on Eden and other WIPs. Other WIPs that I would like to finish in 2025. I also have some stitchy goodness in the mail, and I have some quick little thank yous to some viewers who participated in the Cam Echo is Stitching giveaway packages that never was a drawing. which if you don't know what just happened, it's Yeah, that's the other reason that I want to clarify, like, I think I lost folks when I was trying to merge a stitch along channel with a Flosstube channel. I think I lost some folks. I know. I'm whatever. So let me first start by what I learned. Okay, so what I learned from last year's seasonal effective to this year's is a couple things that you guys might need to know, and I'm going to put the article in the description again for those of you that don't know what seasonal affective disorder is. It either can be with depression. It is most often shows up with depression for people. For me, it's a physiological response to light and to temperature and to literally the sun being on an axis, or the planet being on an axis, and us going around the sun, and the moon and the sun being in a different place. Literally, for me, it's a chemical issue. Ta-da! And those of you that have been with me a while know that I'm a person in recovery. And so, yeah, many of us in recovery are also really hypersensitive to change because we've been affected. Yes, not just seasonally, but all year round. But the stitching, coming home from work and at least stitching just even 200 squares has been so amazing for me. So that's one of the things that cross stitching has done for me, is it's given me quiet at the end of the day. It also gives me a refuge from my ego and from my spinning brain and from feeling like, oh, something's wrong with me. Also, we just went through a really hard election cycle for some of us, and it has also given me a refuge from the news and from painful relationships that have ended because of the election, and a season of a very different world we're going into for the next 4 years, and you know, just being able to stabilize myself, right? And I'm not even going to pretend, for those of you that don't like people talking about politics, I'm not going to talk about politics, but I'm not going to pretend that I'm not who I am. And that's the other thing that stitch therapy is going to give me, is a place to be honest about who I am. And I think Cam Echo is stitching, I did that too. But again, it was kind of mixed up. It was sort of like, it's not a floss tube, but it is a floss tube, but it's not a floss tube, but So one channel is a stitching channel, okay? The other channel is my floss tube, and my floss tube is my floss tube. For any haters out there, please do not subscribe. Okay, anybody out there who doesn't like my style, doesn't like my, please. I mean, I have a small amount of followers, but I love you all so dearly because I know that you are with me for the ride. And yeah, not many comments, not many this, not many that. Who cares? You know, I tried to do something with the new Cam Echo is stitching, and I think I muddied the waters too much. That's what happened, I think, is that I was muddying the water between doing a stitch along channel and doing a floss tube. I wanted it all. And I do want it all. But other people, for instance, Stitching Rhodey, if you know Anna, but she's in Oregon, she's in Portland, Oregon, and Anna does Stitch Rhodey, but she also does quilt Rhodeys, you know, and she also does kind of, I mean, if you like people that are just chatting, like you just like this video that I'm just chatting with you right now, you're gonna love Anna. She is another one that I watch weekly because she is so, it's very ASMR, right? Like it's very audio receptive, relaxation, whatever. And that there's something about listening to somebody talk while you're stitching. It's a little bit like listening to an audiobook, those of us who do floss tubes. I just recently did some research around why do channels on Flosstube that are, and I can't remember where I saw it. I went into a deep dive around ASMRs and like there's I found a Chinese YouTube channel that the woman does coloring. And literally you're not even seeing the picture she's coloring. you're watching her on a table and she's talking in Chinese and she's just doing a coloring thing. And then when she finishes it, she holds it up and says goodbye. And that's it. But it's like a 20-minute thing. And she has like 4,500,000 followers or something. I was like blown away, and that's all she does. And I looked back through her images. I was like, now what is it about these channels that we all get into that have, whether it's a history channel on clothing, which I also like. I have a bunch of those that are off topic, but I have a bunch of other ASMR kind of brain relaxation kind of things where people just talk and they kind of drone on. And I have a bunch of philosophy channels and history channels and other YouTube channels that I subscribe to that are, I have podcasts on the history of Rome. I have podcasts on the history of England that I've heard all of them like twice, like as I'm stitching. This is part of our brain, right? Part of our brain that calms the amygdala is what I'm trying to say, that calms the hypersensitivity of the world around us, that calms the ego. Yeah, that calms the ego and allows us to just take a breath. Use one piece of floss with one needle going through fabric. If you've ever watched the Comfort Stitcher, and I know a lot of you have, because she also has millions of followers. She's got like 17 million subscribers at this point, or followers, which is great. Yeah, she did her first Flosstube and took off. But that's great. And I've talked to her on email too. And one of the things we talked about is that, you know, there's enough room in this Flosstube world for everybody to speak to everybody, and that she opens her Flosstube with a little dialogue about needle pulling thread, like basically what I talk about on the research end of stitch therapy and what I get into, sort of the psychological and the therapeutic part of it. She gets into like the meditative and the comfort part of it, right? Like, and she talks about there's something very comforting, which is why her channel is called The Comfort Stitcher. So you can go and check her out. And I will put these folks, the links for these folks in the YouTube. Then there's other channels that are like what's soothing to me every Monday without fail, pretty much without fail. You will, if you link to her channel, you will hear Sarah the Northwood Stitcher talk about finds, right? Finding thrift shop finds or stitching finds, or I will start that thought again. 1 moment, please. Okay, hi. Before I was so rudely interrupted. So another channel that has that sort of relaxation of and unity of information is Sarah the Northwood Stitcher. So she's out of Maine, and you know, she does thrift shop finds, she does crafts, she does cross stitch, she does, but it's also a floss tube. It's not as traditional as, say, Stitching the Globe is, which is just cross stitch, you know, they do a little personal check-in, but then they just talk about their stuff and they have their different angles of their channel. And it's not as quiet or demure or gentle as the Comfort Stitcher. And it's not sort of as talky and rambly as Anna, you know, and in her Stitch Roadie videos, right? So everybody has their own style of Flosstube, and everybody has their own channel that brings them comfort, that brings them fun, that makes them laugh out loud. I mean, seriously, I watch Anna and I laugh out loud sometimes when she's in the beehive. I watch Stephanie and Allison and I talk back to the screen like, oh girl, that's beautiful. What are you talking about? You know, when they show stuff. Or I'm like, ooh, I like that. Or I'll pause it and say, oh, thanks for enabling. I just bought that pattern, or whatever it is. And when I'm watching the Comfort Stitcher, I literally can just hear her voice kind of gently. She kind of has this style of, it's kind of her voice is very calm and very steady, and it doesn't matter what she's saying. It's kind of just like, you know, and I can just stitch along. I don't even have to look at what she's doing. I can just stitch and listen to her. And then Sarah the Northwood Stitcher is like one of my best buds, and I adore her. And it's like being in her house with a cup of coffee and stitching with her. So, yeah, I mean, this is people talk about what an amazing community Flosstube is, right? And it is, and also, I think it is also a community of diversity, right? Not everybody is going to like everybody's Flosstube channel. Not everybody's going to like, there are some channels that I personally do not like, right? And it's not because I don't love the Stitchers. Love the Stitchers. I love what they do. But some channels that are from like boutique stores. Now, I love buying from 123 Stitch. I'm not so much a fan of their YouTube. I just don't really watch their, I mean, I subscribed for a while and then I stopped. So, you know, that's just my own personal preference. Or people that have, I don't know, sometimes people are a little, I kind of like the people that are, that you just, I don't know, they turn on and they start rambling. You know, they're just like, hi, hello, here I am, I'm blah, 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 and maybe I'll show you some stitching. So I'm not so persnickety about, I don't get real impatient with, oh, come on, just show me what you're stitching, get it over with. That's not my gig. In a way, Flosstube gives me an avenue to set a record down. To just not feel alone in it. And anyway, this is a very long-winded way of saying that this year, my seasonal affective disorder, I have learned lots. Last year, I think I was in more of a depressive state. This year, I think I have not been, but I have still been affected. So what that looks like for me is 2 years ago, maybe it was 2 years ago when I quit, when I shut down the channel for the first time, Stitch Therapy, when I did that painful goodbye video. And, you know, for those of you that loved me through that period of my life, thank you very much. It was a depressive time. And I think there was a lot of things that were going on in my life that I wasn't able to take care of myself as well as I needed to. And particularly the death of my brother and all of that was you know, you never get over that. You just never do. At least I don't think I ever will. So anyway, I have I always laugh when I hear the birds, because I think of another YouTuber that I follow from Australia, and her name is Laura. She's Finnish, but she lives in Australia. And so it's Laura or Laura, whichever way you want to say her name. But she has a Flosstube channel called I Stitch Birds, ? I will put her link in as well. So, where did I want to go with this? I guess I just wanted to say, to wrap up the whole SAD conversation, what I did differently this year. Well, I had a different schedule. I've been working in a public health hospital as an outpatient therapist for, I guess, 18 months now. And the other thing I did was I started a Friday night well, it started out to be Wednesday at first. It was a Zoom group of women who reached out to me that had been friends of mine online, or that I had talked to online when I was doing my first Flosstube, the first incarnation of stitch therapy, the first couple of videos. And I made friends with folks, and after I closed down my YouTube channel, I emailed them and said, hey, would you like to join for I think it was Sarah and I Zoomed first, and then we invited some other people to join us. And it became a group on my Zoom every week, and we affectionately call ourselves the Stitching Tatas. And we still do that today. We still, there's only like 4 or 5 of us, which is a nice small group, because then we can all share what we're stitching, and we can all just have a life checkup thing, you know, and share what we're stitching and just be in each other's company every week. And that's a really lovely gift of this Flosstube world, this community. And when I started that gave me my confidence back. And then I put my toe in the water, if you'll notice with Cam Echo stitching, that I wasn't even showing my face at first, because I was so scared. So this year, what did I do differently? Well, I had a community already built in. I had a structure of my day because I was back at work. I got much more active in my recovery community. The other thing I want to say to folks that might be struggling with SAD is, not only is structure and community important, the third thing I did that's very different is I slept. I really, really sleep a lot. But I also have to be up early in the morning to go to work. So I get home about 7:30. I stitch until about 9:30. I get home around 7:15. I stitch, I'll feed the dogs, feed myself, and then sit down to stitch around 7:30. I'll stitch until 9:30, and then I go to bed. Literally, I go to bed. I drink chamomile tea. I stopped drinking caffeine at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I made sure that my meals are planned out. I prepped my meals for the week, so that stress of, oh my God, what am I supposed to take to work? Oh my God, what am I going to eat for dinner? I have 3 meals a day. They're prepped in the fridge. I know exactly what I'm eating every 4 hours until I'm done with eating when I get home, and then it's just a cup of coffee, or, well, not decaf, or tea. It's usually tea in the evening. And the other thing I started doing that's different this year is I did 2 herbal mood boosts. One is black cohosh, and the other is called SAM-E, SAM-E. And for those of you that feel like you're physically exhausted, these 2 mood boosts are literally, I don't know how I haven't been able to understand the research. I know that they physiologically help you boost your mood. It's kind of like a B12 thing as well. The SAM-E, I think, is a B12 boost. So there's that physiological part. And as I say, this year it hasn't been an emotional depression. It has been a physiological heaviness that I've been living with. And the other thing I've been doing is, part of my job is that I run groups, therapy groups at my job. And I am the mindfulness queen. So I do all kinds of mindfulness instruction and introducing people to the idea of Metta meditation, which we have done on this channel, and which I've done over at Cam Echo Stitching as well. I love my Metta, and working with people to do that, being an instructor around that, or being a therapist that takes people through that pace in session, right? I often start my therapy sessions with mindfulness, yoga, or deep breathing, or getting people into the present moment with these techniques. That has really, really helped me. And it helps me with my stitching. There are, I don't know if this happens to you, that you'll be stitching along and you'll be like, oh, come on, I just want this finished. Right? Whoa, you know, and I have to slow myself down and go, oh, just put down the needle, you know, and breathe it in. So that has helped me a lot too, to remember that stitching is a process. It's not an outcome necessarily. Now, with Eden, yes, it's an outcome. I want to finish Eden. I want to finish this. I'm so close to being finished. I have like 5 pages less. I'm on page 39. And I guess this is a good time to segue into Eden. So here is the picture of Eden, page 37, 38, as far as I have gotten. Here is the page 39 that I started right after that yesterday. I just dove right in and started stitching on that. So that's the WIP for Eden. That's where I am with Eden's WIP. And again, tricky, right? I also wanted to follow up because I did a little bit more stitching on the cat, the Halloween cat. I did a little bit more stitching on that. So just to show you a little bit more of that. There it is. So I did a little bit more of the flowers. Whoop, there. So we got some flowers done. We got a little bit of the first skeleton is here. The neck in the skeleton is here. And then these flowers. And so that's that WIP. And for those of you that don't know what that WIP looks like, fully finished, it looks like this. So I'm up to here. I'm like right there. So I'm just about to do the heart underneath the first skeleton thing. So there's that. I do love stitching on that cat. I really love stitching on this. It's called Sugar Skull Cat and Sugar Skull Cat. And it's from last year's Halloween Just Cross Stitch magazine. You can find it in that. And I've talked endlessly about who stitched it and all that stuff, and then I'm doing it on an 18 count piece of fabric that I found in a thrift shop. But that's just to bring you up to date on that. There's another WIP that I wanted to talk about today, guys, in this stitch therapy. It's one that was it's a UFO, an unfinished object, and it was one that I stopped a bunch of years ago. And I'm thinking I'd like to pick it up again in 2025. I cannot even tell you where I got the pattern. The pattern is so old. I don't even know where I got it. Oh, Character Creations, which I don't think they're even around anymore. This is a pattern I think I showed. No, maybe I didn't. It's a pattern called Soul and Intellect, art by Jessica Palmer. Charted for cross stitch under the license of Kerry, Kerry Blackwell. This is the image. It's called Soul and Intellect. It's a beautiful, beautiful full coverage piece. It means a lot to me. However, I started this stitch when I had never done any full coverage at all, and I made many, many mistakes on it. The first mistake I did was that I think I started in the middle of the pattern. I started in the middle. This is not ironed and it's not washed. I apologize for that. And if that really turns you off, then look away. Because it's not, okay. It's on an 18 count piece of fabric, Ada. And this is as far as I've gotten. Let me hold this up a little bit more. So okay, Campbell, what's the problem with this? The problem with this, that's the bird she's holding. No, it's upside down. That's her head. Oh, okay. Yes. That's her shoulder. And the bird in her hand. Okay. So what's the problem with this, Campbell? Okay, the problem is when I started stitching the skin, it was green. Can you see there's a really dark green in the fabric? There's like in the picture, there's a really dark green. And maybe I can find a better picture of that. I don't know where it is. I have these laminated somewhere, but I don't know where the lamination cards are. Anyway, it's a really dark green. Where are, oh, here they are. Here's the lamination. Okay, these are my laminated cards because I'm old school and I stitch from lamination. So there's a green in there. It sort of shows up better on the lamination. There's a dark green in her skin. And when I started stitching it, I was like, ew, 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 ew. I don't know that I like that. Ew. So I ripped it all out. I frogged it. Rip it, rip it, rip it, right? I frogged it. And then I put in these colors for skin tone. Right? And then I got up to here. Here. And there's more green. There's more of that dark, icky green on her neck. Here. And I had started her face and her hair, and it's got more of that weird green in it. Ugh. And I just finally was like, you know what? I went on Stitching the Night Away was a Facebook group I was part of that I'm still a part of. I just don't check in very often. And there's also Full Coverage Fanatics, which was a Facebook group that I was part of. And I was doing this with them, and I had someone help me who wasn't able to help me much, but I did check out the different skin tone colors. There's a whole thing on Facebook where you can take skin tones and you can do African American or Mexican or, you know, whatever the skin tone is, of if you want to change it to your ethnicity, right? You can change the skin tone colors of your threads. You can do a floss toss and do a different skin tone, right? So I was going to change these, and now I don't know if it's too light. And maybe I should have just stuck with the pattern. Now it looks weird and it's too pinky. Wah! Okay, so here's my question. If you could put your opinion in the comments below. Do you think I should just restart this? I want to do this. I love this pattern. It's amazing to me. It speaks to me. It sings to me. Should I just redo it the way that I now know how to do a full coverage, which is to start in the upper left-hand corner here and then move my way across, right? Like, I know how to do it now. I just didn't at the time. So I was making all these different patterns, and I was sort of printing it out a million times and starting it over a million times and losing my place. And because here's the other thing. This piece has, oh God, oh my God, the floss in this is this many, and each box has this many. I think it's over 160 colors or something. And I have them all sectioned out into the numbers. So here are the, I mean, I really spent a lot of time on this. Here's all of the ecrus and the skin tones. This is an extra bag of skin tones. Here are the 300s. 700s. Yeah, each number that there is in DMC It's 100s, 200s, 300s, 400s, 600s, 700s, 800s, 900s. I mean, there's even specialty H824. I mean, I don't know. And each one of them, I've put the little, each little bag has the number and has the symbol next to it. I mean, I'm really organized with this piece. I want to finish. I want to do it. But what do you think? Do I continue on with this, with the new skin tone? Does it look too weird? Or do I just start it again? Again, here's the new skin tone of her arm. Right? There's the new arm color. And then the neck shows the old color of like how the skin tone goes green. Like, I don't know about that. So that's how they were having me do it, with these bright pinks and greens. And then this is what I changed it to. So I sort of kept some of the dark greens on the edge for shadow, and then I took all of the bright pinks out and put in more skin tone. So please let me know. I am really up in the air with this one. This is a WIP that I do want to fully finish. I don't want to UFO it anymore, but I also don't know what to do with it. It's one of my problem children. Does everybody have problem children like this? I think we do. That's that WIP. And then I have another WIP on a big frame, and I'm going to take a pause, and I will show that to you. It's the Gnome Band. Gnome band. Do you guys remember this from a very, very early episode, maybe episode 2 or 3 of Stitch Therapy that I showed this? That's the other thing that's fun about coming back to Stitch Therapy, is I can talk to you about all these old WIPs that I want to get done after I finish Eden. Okay, so let me pause, and I'm going to get that out, and I'll be right back. Okay. This is on I don't even know what count fabric, maybe 32. It's maybe 32, and I think I'm going 1/1. I'm doing 1/1, which is crazy. Are you seeing that? And I've covered it in plastic because it's been on a frame, and I don't want it to get dust. So I've covered it in plastic. This is the Gnome Band. Now, this is a problem child because, hi buddy, all right, Taki, don't do that, buddy. Taki's a problem child as well. This is a problem child piece because it takes so long and it's so small. And I definitely want to finish it. But again, when I started this in England in the 80s, I had no idea what the heck I was doing. I didn't know that you did... I mean, I guess I did know, but I was not in a place of being... I was in drama school in the 80s in England at the Guildford School of Acting and Dance, and I was really overwhelmed with being away from home in my 20s and being in this professional acting school and feeling like I wasn't good enough and I wasn't this and I wasn't that. And the only place I could find refuge in my mind was in cross stitch and drinking, which wasn't a great place to go either. But so I was in this place in my head where I was able to do this very quiet, detailed, intense work because I was sort of feeling intense at the time. Well, now I remember my stitching from Ginny Thompson, and I remember that small things like that are usually 2/1. I apologize. My dog is really needy right now. I'm going to take a pause and see what Taki needs. He might need it. Okay, this is what happens when I'm on Zoom with my stitch group. This is what happens with him. He wants to sit in my lap and he wants to like be in my face. So you're getting the real thing here. Oh my God. I think it's the Amazon man. I'll be right back, guys. I'll be right back. Whew. Okay, I'm back. Dogs are outside. Let's try this again with the Gnome Band. So, pardon me while I move this here. Okay, so this is the Gnome Band. it is covered in plastic because it has been in a frame so long, and I washed it and stretched it and put it on a very fancy metal frame. And I think it's 32 count fabric, and I probably should have been stitching 2/1, but I didn't. I've been stitching 1/1, and there's a lot of back stitch in it. And that's the other reason that it's a problem child, is that the back stitching is so intricate. It's really delicate back stitch. Actually, if I show you the back of this, you can get an idea of how actually detailed and intricate it is. That's the back. Yikes. So again, I love this piece. I want to finish this piece. I want to continue. I want to get it done. This is 2 full pages, I think, that I've gotten finished. And I am, I'm committed to finish this before I die. But those are the WIPs that I am gonna pick up again after I finish Eden. So my designated stitch, the stitch Cam Echo is stitching stitch is Eden, and yes, we will get that done, folks. Also, look at this cool bag I got from a thrift shop. Ugh, can you see that? That cool bag carries, it's actually an artist's portfolio bag, but it carries all of this. It's a metal frame with the length of the little gnome band project. So it's very, very cool, and it has 2 sections, and pardon the zipper. Whoop! Okay, there it is. So that's that. That's the gnome band. All right. Whew. So that's gnome band, cat, finish Eden, and soul and intellect. Yep. Those are the WIPs that are the big WIPs. Now I have Christmas WIPs that I started last Christmas that I didn't get finished. Little ornament WIPs and things that I'm not going to talk about because they're going to be gifts to people, probably. Well, yes, they will be. They may get those in, I don't know, maybe my friends will get their Christmas stitches in February for Valentine's Day. I don't know. We'll see. It's a thing. It'll happen when it happens. All right, so those are my WIPs. This is going to be a very long video because, yes, that was the Amazon guy who delivered some fun stuff, and there was other stitchy goodness out on the porch when I went out to get this stuff. So I'll talk about the boring Amazon stuff first. For the, now that I'm spending some time delineating Cam Echo is stitching from Stitch Therapy, I'll just let you know, I now have a flexible tripod that I just ordered for Cam Echo is stitching. So hopefully the stitching will not be so wibble wobbly. I'll be able to put this, it has a bendable top on it. For those of you that do floss tubes, I've been looking a long time for the right tripod, so we'll see if this one works. What I'm using right now is, I wish I could take a picture of this and show you actually how I have this, I have my OBS little camera. It's about this big, and it has 2 Velcro straps over it, hanging off of a circular lamp that and so every time I do a stitch along, it's been really tricky to try and like get that from falling and keeping it, like I have to literally look through the hole in the lamp to stitch, and it's been kind of a pain in my butt. So anyway, here's this. So that's a good thing. The other thing is that you guys know I'm starting another WIP, right? In January. Where's that other WIP? Where is he? Where is he? You guys know this. Yes, you do. You know this WIP. You know this is going to be my new crazy big. That's the other thing. Do I go back and do Soul and Intellect again, or do I start Stitch Cat Daddy? Woohoo! Steampunk Cat Daddy. I'm so in love with this one. So in love, you guys. And so in love, in fact, that I bought a whole bunch of floss drops recently. And I got today in Amazon, I got the floss dropped, the little metal, these metal things that you can put the floss drops on. So they're little, and I wanted these ones that I could do the different numbers. Like, kind of like I did with Soul and Intellect, breaking down the numbers, because it's easier for me to see the numbers and symbols. The other way that I could do it, which I have also bought a different system, because Steampunk Cat Daddy is only 85 colors. Pretty reasonable. So I was gonna do, and again, I will probably Xerox. I will copy these and then laminate them. So I have my original pattern, and then I have the pattern that I work from, because I'm old school. Sorry, like Allison from Stitching the Globe. She and I both work from paper. Yay! Stephanie doesn't. Stephanie works from, I think, her tablet. She likes everything on her Mac, I think. But anyway, yeah, so the other system that I was thinking of doing were these for flosses, which is how I'm doing Eden. I have Eden on one of these, because Eden is only 47 colors. It seems like it's more, I know, but this holds 50. And I have 3 of these that I could also do that. But one of the things I'm learning in using that plastic floss holder is that you have to keep braiding the floss, or else it gets tangled up in it. And then when you pull one out, you pull 3 others. You know, it can be quite the thing to get the floss out of that. So so I think Steampunk Cat Daddy is going to be, is soon, like the week, the day, the minute this Eden is finished, this is getting started. And I think I'm going to do Steampunk on 25. I have some stuff here on the back wall. This is my floss, if you can see in the back. That's my floss holder. I mean, floss holder. That's my fabric holder. And those are all the fabrics. It's got 2 or 3 sides. It's, what it is it's a yoga. It's a thing that you can put your yoga pants in. It's called a yoga pants holder. I got it off of some, I don't think it was Temu. I think it was Amazon. I just saw it in one of the, you know how when you're on Pinterest and they show you a little video of something, ooh, you might like this. And because I had done yoga and I was buying new yoga pants and stuff, and it showed this yoga pant holder, or yoga, yeah, it was like yoga pants, and it showed people rolling them up and sticking them in. I was like, that's a lot of yoga pants. Like, why would anybody need that many yoga pants? Well, I ended up buying them for my fabric stash, because I had fabric stash on my shelving that was just like a lot of clogging up the stash. Now I still have a box of very large pieces of 18 count Aida and 22 count Aida that I got at cross stitch shops in New York City and in New Jersey, that they were literally closing the store. And I just happened to be driving by and I saw this going out of business sign, Craft World, whatever it was. And I went in the basement and they had bolts of 18 count Aida and 22 count Aida, and I bought them. And I've carried them ever since I found them in New York in the 90s. So, and I've been stitching on them ever since. That's what Eden is on, one of those pieces of 18 count. So I think Steampunk Cat Daddy is going to be on a 22 or a 28 or 25, something in the 20s. And I think I'm gonna do 2/1 because I like the chunky look. I like the three-dimensional kind of, like when you step back and it looks a little chunky. I like that. Not many people do. Some people like it really flat with single threads on a 28 count. If I do 28, of course it has to be a single thread. But if I do 25, I might do 2/1. I don't know. Again, more for you to comment on if you'd like to think about that. Or not. I'll think about it. I'll let you know. Okay. So that happened. And so the other thing that came for me to maybe do floss drops for Steampunk Cat Daddy, right? Because the floss drops are over there. And you guys know what floss drops look like, right? For those of you you guys know what these look like, right? These floss drops, they're like this. Right? They have a hole in the top, and then they have a hole for the floss, the skein of floss, and then this little hole is for your leftover thread if you are like me and you do cross country, and maybe you do 1 or 2 full crosses and you want to save the rest of your thread for the next time. You can just link it there. I have that color, and they do give you a ring. I know they give you the metal ring. They do give you a metal ring to use with the floss drops when you buy them. But here's what I don't like. It's like, it's like hard. I just find it difficult. Maybe I'm just being too much of a muchness. They only give you 1. And so am I going to put numbers and symbols on all of these and have them all on one ring, 85 of them on one ring? I don't think so. So that's why I thought, well, I'm just going to do the 85 in here and separate them out by DMC number or color swatch. You know what I mean? Because the colors are pretty similar in Steampunk. But the other kind of floss drop that I got that I wanted to try were these bad daddies. Because these would hold a bunch of, like, 3 skeins. This would hold like 3 skeins worth of floss on one little floss drop. So, and these are made of wood. I don't know if you can hear that. They're blue dyed, but they're wood. And I was wondering if the floss would hold better on a wood drop as opposed to a acrylic drop. So that will also be an experiment that I will test. And again, they give you another metal ring for these. These are packets of 50, I think. And I got 2 of each. So I have 100 of each of these to play around with. And now I have my bendable things. And then the other thing I bought specifically in mind of Steampunk Cat Daddy, the other thing I bought is a carrying case for Steampunk. Well, just for any stitchy. I've been obsessed with this bag for a really long time, and I don't know why. I saw it on Amazon, I saw it on Temu, I saw it somewhere else on Pinterest, and I just love it. Look how big this bag is. It's an 18 by, I think this is 6 by, I don't know what this is. I think this is 16 by 18. It's really big. And then it has 2 large pockets in the middle. It has this zipper in the middle. Another section, so you can technically do 3 things. You could put your hoops in here, or you could put your just the project itself in the middle. And then it has little pockets inside. There are little stitched in pockets that you could put scissors or tools or something on one side. And so there's a Black Friday, like a Thanksgiving Black Friday deal for this bag, and instead of it being $40, there's mesh on the side, and then there's pockets on the outside. There's pockets everywhere. And then there's this. Yeah, instead of it being $43, it was $21. Yes, I know. And I'm an Amazon Prime member, so I didn't have to pay. So there's that too. There's plastic for floss to keep it clean. And there's also these little duties. Not sure. And then little pockets here. There's just so much stitchy fun in this bag, and it's called Luxja. You say that any way you want to. Luxja, 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 Luxja on Amazon. Yeah, it's my new stitchy bag, and I am going to be adoring this, or maybe I'll just transfer. You know, if I do decide to go back and do Soul and Intellect, I can put it in here too. It's just all kinds of, I could do all kinds of things with this. All right, are you ready for more? There's more stuff that came in the mail this week. So that's fun stuff. The other thing that came this week was, it's here. Do you guys know that this is out on the market right now? I will show you late. I don't know where it is. It's in the other room. My other 2024 calendars, you know, I've got all the pictures and the stitching, and I have little smiley heart stickers for every day that I stitch on Eden, because that's been my focus on 2024. Anyway, so this is, you know, just an example of how it is on the inside for those of you. Each month has a quote. Without friends, the world is but a wilderness. Quote from Francis Bacon. January says, what the heart remembers most are moments shared, by Elizabeth Brown. And then they have little stitchy vintage pictures of that are throughout the calendar as well. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Winston Churchill. Well, literally counting with cross stitch. So there's all these old ads as well. They do a really nice job with this magazine, with this calendar, sorry. So there's that from like an old ad, Best Black Silk. And you know they just cut and paste that from, they find all these old ads and stuff and really good quotes for each year. The ornament of a house is the friend who frequents it. Ralph Waldo Anderson. Oh, this is a cool little ad they have in May. They found an ad from the newspaper of something. It says Manhattan Silk Sea. Silk Sea? Question mark. Warranted 20-yard sewing silk. Isn't that fun? That's just really fun. Like stuff like that throughout this. So some people are like, well, I don't need to spend a bunch of money on a stitchy calendar and blah, blah. But this is just kind of, for me, I really like the sort of Victorian vibe, the Edwardian, well, you know, I just like the vintage vibe of this. And then on the back, which I won't show you, but they give you a pattern on the back of it as well. A tiny little pattern, and this year's is a tiny little flower urn, which is really cute. So, appreciating the time-honored practice of needlework. Yeah. Nice. It's just nice to be able to have a calendar that's just dedicated just for stitching, and that I decorate as well. So that's what I'm going to do again this year with that. The other thing that came in the mail this week was my, I am a subscriber of the Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. This is owned and operated by a woman who does this all herself. What is her name again? Editor. You guys know this person. Oh, Sally Van Nuys. Okay. She does this all on her own. It is a beautiful magazine. It comes, I think, 6 times a year. But it's just beautiful. And it does punch needle, but there's also cross-stitch patterns in it. So it's the, she says, the first needleworker magazine created exclusively for punch needle and cross-stitch enthusiasts. And it sure is. Shakespeare's Peddler has a pattern in here this time, and Croqueta A Go-Go has one in here. Who else? Rebecca Noland has a pattern in here, for those folks who know designer names. So yeah, I would encourage you to get a subscription to this, even if you're not a punch needler. I'm not a punch needler. I have the accoutrement for punch needle, but I do not do it because I have too many other things to cross stitch. However, I think it's really nice to be able to support independent independent needlework people who, you know, they're putting their heart and their soul into a product that, you know, this is a very high definition, high class, well-made magazine. It's every page is laminated, every page is color, every page has a pattern in it or something. It's a really well done magazine. I love Just Cross Stitch, I do. And also I know that they have been around a long time and they have, you know, maybe a lot more money to be able to produce the magazines that they produce. And this is somebody who is, you know, doing this out of Jackson City, Missouri. You know, I just think it's a really important magazine, and it's, as well as if you get the hard copy, you can also get an online subscription so you can go back and see all of the previous years as part of your membership too. So please support this. It's a great magazine. If you have the money or the ability to. If not, maybe your local library would have a copy of it, or, you know, maybe another stitcher who might be able to, you know, send you a PDF or a copy of it or something, a page that you want to stitch. The last thing I want to talk about that I got in the mail, Stitchy Fun, is also a throwback to some of my earlier, I think it was Floss Stitch #1 of Stitch Therapy, where I talked about Ginny Thompson. Was it 1 or 2? Ginny Thompson was the woman who had a store down in South Carolina called the Counting House. And she has been called, in the 70s and 80s, she was called the Queen of Cross Stitch, because she sort of reintroduced this cross stitch phenomena to us way, way early. In the 70s and 80s, and she used to run something called Danish American Days with the Danish princess, royal heads of the women in the royal family of Denmark. And my mother went to those before there were Stitch Cons and before there were Floss Weekends and all of these Stitchy group vacations that we all take now, that we see all over the internet from every country. Here in the South, in the United States, in South Carolina, at the Counting House, the Princess of Denmark would come and would work on cross-stitch techniques, as well as pulled thread techniques. And my mother would go and would down at Pawleys Island and was part of this group. And they had, you know, it was kind of very cool to see the legacy of where we are today in Flosstube land as to where people were. So Ginny Thompson was very, very influential. I was 8 or 9 years old. There was a hurricane brewing on the coast, and so we had to go inland. And we went to Ginny's store, and she gave us the 3-minute cross-stitch lesson. And we bought all these little small kits, which I have shown in earlier videos of my stitch therapy. And Ginny, she was just great, and her store was great. And now her grandchildren, yes, her grandchildren are carrying the tradition of Ginny Thompson, her patterns, and not only that, but her beautiful, beautiful fiber arts, which is called flower thread. And I had my mother's box of flower thread. The problem with flower thread, I found, is that after a few decades of having it in a box, for me anyway, and it might have been because my mom didn't store it well, or when I finally inherited it after she died, it didn't store well, but it was, when I tried to stitch with it, it was breaking a lot. So I went online. I was missing my mom in the middle of the night, and I went online and I bought every single new color of, look at those beautiful colors. That's the first bag of flower thread, and that's one of the bags. This is the second bag of colors. Oh, here's the third bag of colors. And her grandchildren are continuing her legacy. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that just beautiful? I absolutely adore it. They also have on their website a conversion chart for DMC. So I know there are people with fancy silks out there that, you know, you like your fancy silks, guys. Now, you know I'm a DMC girl, right? You know what's behind this Namaste flag, right? 72 boxes of DMC. Oh yeah, I have multiple flosses, and they're all bobbinated. You guys know that, right? All right, I might do a little video tour at the end of this video to show you, for those of you who don't know. But these, the flower thread is just delicious. It is all cotton, 100% cotton. It's made in the USA, and it is just beautiful. And the thing about flower thread is that you can use one strand instead of two because it puffs up. It puffs up. So if you're doing linen work and you're doing a regular DMC 2/1, you can do 1/2 with flower thread. So a 4-yard card of flower thread can potentially last twice as long as a single skein of DMC. Potentially. It also just feels really good. Oh my God. And it makes me so happy, and it makes me almost want to cry because I miss my mom so much. And when we first started stitching, we of course bought Ginny Thompson's floss. So thank you, Ginny, and your legacy. And I actually sent Meg an email and said thank you for continuing the legacy of your grandmother's love and passion for stitching arts. And I have bought, because they're a different size from regular bobbins, I bought 3 boxes. They recommend a Flabo tackle box to hold the floss. And they don't sell them, but I got them on Amazon. Again, I got 3 boxes for 20 bucks on Amazon. So I'm going to put these in there lovingly. And then when I do some Christmas stitching, or I do some smaller stitches that require some sort of specialty stitches, I can use my Ginny Thompson. And these are every single color. So I'm so happy that I have them. Yes, Mom, I heard you, and I bought them. Yes, I did. So let's see. Last up, I think that's all my stitching. Oh, there's a couple more things I did that I wanted to show you. I've been doing, well, it's a separate topic actually. It's about magnets. I've been trying to do needle minders on my own, and I have little wooden buttons and stuff for needle minders. These magnets seem like they're strong, you know? You take one of these off and you think, oh, it's really strong. And so you pull it off and you think, oh, that's really strong, right? And then I was using, Sarah the Northwood Stitcher was talking about the glue 6100 that she got for gluing everything for craft projects. So I bought 6 tubes of that, right? These are so small. I got these from Amazon. It was like $4 for 100 of them. My recommendation is do not skimp, because these did not work. When I actually put them, and I'll show you what I mean. I actually put one, hang on. Oh, there it is. So I had this. So I got buttons from the U.S. Postal Service. There are some round buttons for forever stamps that are out there right now. And I decided I wanted to do a needle minder. So I put it on the back with the glue, and it falls right off. It really doesn't hold it. So whatever size magnet you use, buyer beware, because you need to know the strength of the magnet. And I'm not a magnet aficionado, so I went and got these. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 30 of these, but holy moly, are they strong. Oh yeah. These dudes are strong. Yeah. That needle is flying through the air. Whoop, no. Well, not if you do it too closely, but anyway, these are very strong. And these are also on Amazon, and they were $8. And they're larger, right? I think it's also just the surface space makes it easier. And I got 2 boxes of these because I'm going to be doing some Christmassy giveaway stuff for these too, these needle minders. So these are not so great, not so great. Even though they say in the description, you know, and I think it's too late for me to send these back. Plus I've already used 2 of them, so I can't send them back. So I don't know what I'm going to use these for, but maybe decoration. I mean, they're strong enough for like decorations, absolutely. If you want to put a magnet something on your refrigerator, absolutely. But as a needle minder, having something hang off of it through an object, I think it's the magnetizing through an object, even a metal object, it wasn't really strong enough. It didn't hold the needle well. So I am living and learning about magnets. That's that. I want to talk about one more cross-stitch seller online. Many of you know that the Unconventional stitcher lost, speaking of floods, right? Speaking of people who have lost their homes in floods and fires and terrible things. She is a woman from, I mean, it's the company Unconventional Stitcher is from Australia. They lost their home in a fire, and not only did they lose their home, but they lost all of their stash that they were selling. They lost all of their product that they were selling. So what you can do to support them is you can buy patterns online from www.unconventionalstitch.com. They have loads and loads of online patterns. There's stuff online, and thank God for the cloud, because they still have their shop open. Now, what you can't buy is the kits. Like, I went online and was like, why can't I buy this kit? And then suddenly you see the banner, we're really sorry, we don't have any storage, we don't have any kits left, we don't have any material objects because they were all burned up in their fire. Ouch, right? So in order for them to rebuild their business and to be able to go back and do those kits, to be able to rebuild, they're incredible. If you go to unconventionalstitch.com, the patterns are like nowhere else in the world. They are just so amazing and beautiful. And I'll give you, I tend to go and buy stuff from them now. Probably once a month I'm buying something from this website, just because I want to support the owner and I want to support the family. And it's only, what, $13 for something on PayPal? I mean, it's not, you know, if you can, and I may never get these stitched, but, you know, it's a good, I think it's good, again, to support, just like saying with the Primitive Needle, you know, Stitcher, that magazine, I think it's great to support people that are really putting their heart and soul into what we love to do. We get to take advantage of it, but these are people that have put their whole lives on the line for having a business, a small business that is trying to bring joy and love to the rest of us. So anyway, Unconventional stitch.com, and the information is here. This is the one that I just recently bought for the season. It's a little bit like a Halloween stitch if you look at it at first. It's called We Three Kings. I thought this was a very cool take on the traditional Christian story that we're all walking into of the three magi, right? So who are these three folks? I don't know, but I dig them. I love them. And I love the idea that there's enough room in the world of imagination and the world of lore that we can bring in an unconventional three kings into the world. I love it, love it, love it. And I cannot wait to start stitching on this one too. So maybe in 2025. I don't know. But anyway, regardless of whether I stitch this or not, I do encourage you to go to the website. If you see something that you like and you think, oh, I'd never get that stitched, it's okay. Just buy a download from this small business, because they do need your support. And I know people around the globe are supporting them, but I also want to encourage anybody who sees my Flosstube, I want to be able to also put out the good word that there are people in our community that need extra support this holiday season. Okay, well, that's that. I have on my list, the next thing to talk about is, because I did make a list. Yes, I'm starting my new I'm coming back to Flosstube with a list. Yes. Over in the Stitch Along channel, the last one that I posted, I had this giveaway plan of 5 bags of books and stuff and patterns that I wanted to give away. No one entered for that drawing, so I ended up just saying to people, if you would like one, email me. Email me, or put a note in the comment and email me at Campbell Craft Stitcher with your address, and I'd be happy to send you a package. Well, what I did is I got 2 people. Axie, who lives in Newton, North Carolina, and Axie, bless you, she lost her house in those ferocious floods and tornadoes and everything that happened in September, October area time in North Carolina. Please continue to pray for people in North Carolina. Please continue to look at your local Salvation Army. And if you can send some money to people there, they don't have their homes. There are people like Axie who emailed me who lost all of her stitchy stash in the home that she lost, and she's now living with friends. And there are other cross-stitchers from YouTube who are also living with friends who have lost their homes from different floods, tornadoes, things happening due to our global warming and the global problems that we're having right now. So Axie, I am so glad I combined two of the envelopes that I had sealed and made this big dramatic thing about, yes, and I'm going to have a name from the Lord of the Rings and blah, blah, blah. Okay, it didn't work out. Nobody put their name in. So I ended up giving Axie and this other woman the 3 bags. I just combined them and sent them the stuff for free. And I hope that they enjoy stitching it. But Axie, bless you. I hope that you can find some comfort in your stitching with, you know, I'm sending out good vibes for you for the holiday. And so, yeah, if you guys want to send a note to Axie in the comments, just send her a little loving note and, you know, I'll make sure that she gets it. The other person was Linda Swinter, who also emailed me, and she's in Clarkston, Michigan. And she also got a bag of surprise mystery stitchy patterns and books and stuff. And Linda, thank you also for saying that you would like some of the stash. And I hope that you also enjoy it. And yes, and I did throw in extra books and stuff into your package too. So those were and then my friend Karen, I also sent a book to, because she had said she wanted one of the books. So I sent her one of the books. So yeah, so that giveaway is not happening anymore because it's all given away. Yay! So the universe is kind, and that's what we do on these Flosstubes. We just send out love and kindness to people. the last thing that was kind of fun that I wanted to talk about was orc boxes. Orc boxes, you know, where you put your little extra tabby threads, right? So this is what I have been using for Eden. This is one of those non-sugar mint boxes, right? And they have, you can get like a single mint on this side, or you can get multiple mints. Well, here's what I do. That's a magnet in the bottom. Whoop! The orts are flying. So I use this as an ort box. I put a magnet inside here, and then I'll show you how I do this. And then I put it here, and there's a magnet under here, and I stick it to the pattern that I'm working on. And that's my ort box when I'm stitching on Eden. Clever. Okay, so I'm always looking around for what could be a cool new ort box. So I was in the basement doing laundry this weekend, and the fabric softener jug that came, it's like it helps your fabric not only soften it, but it makes it smell nicer. So this is like a lavender. Ooh, can you smell that? Lovely. Now what happens is, this is the lid to that lavender. It's like little pellets that you throw into your washing machine when you're washing it, and softens up the clothing, and it makes it smell nice. Okay, so the bottom of it is a recyclable number 2 or number 1 bottle. I think it's a number 1 because it's clear plastic. So it was a number 1. So I took the bottom off to recycle, and then I thought, well, what do I do with this part? This was the flip top. Do you know where I'm going with this? This was the flip top, and this was the lid that went on top of the bottle. Okay, do you know where I'm going with this? Because this is going to be my new ort box. I'm going to glue this to this, right? And then this is a new ort box. I know, it's so stupid, right? It's so stupid, but that's what stitch therapy is for me, right? Stitch therapy is this kind of stuff. So, welcome back, Campbell. Yes, welcome back to your stitch therapy madness. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is I was asking folks, I have some email relationships with people too, people who very kindly email me and talk to me in their comments and stuff. So hello to Ireland, hello to Australia, hello to everyone in the United States and Hawaii and wherever you are. It's really nice to hear from you, and thank you very much. Please feel free to keep emailing me and sending me your stitching. I want to start a new section of Stitch Therapy where I open it up to, you know how sometimes they had in the old radio shows, they had, and now from the mail, you know, where people would talk about, would send letters to Ann Landers or something, and now the letters, you know, here's what you have to say. So I would love to have a section in Stitch Therapy in that is just for you guys sending me your stitching and showing me your stitching. So here's the mailbox, the email, your stitching section, right? So a stitching section's from the fans. How about that? So this section is going to be showing other people's stitching, not mine. So there's a WIP on the screen right now from Karen, who is in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and this is her beautiful modern folk embroidery. It's a Quaker sampler, I think, that you guys may already know. I don't have the name of it right now. She told me, and I don't have the name of it. I'm so sorry, Karen. Ugh. Anyway, she emailed me a picture of it, and so I'm showing it to you guys to see how, to show you and hopefully inspire you if you've thought about doing this pattern. It's so beautiful, and she's just doing a beautiful job with it. She's one of the most expert stitchers I've ever met. She's in my stitching group. weekly. And Karen, I just love your stitching, so I had to brag about you. The next pictures are from Terry Gray. I hope I got your name right. Did I get your name right? Yes. Terry Gray. There's a biscone. And she sent a section picture to show the side of the biscone. It's so beautiful the way she put it together. Again, an expert stitcher. Just beautiful, beautiful, delicate work on this biscone. Really, really beautiful. And then Terry also sent me pictures of her Christmas ornaments. Look at these, guys. Christmas ornaments. I love these so much. They're so stinking cute. Oh. So if you would like your ornaments or your stitching progress or your WIPs or something to be shown on Stitch Therapy, and you don't have a YouTube channel to brag about yourself on, if you would like to email me pictures of your cross stitch, and I will be happy to show them, then feel free to send them to me. And I will have this new section in from the email box. Let's call it that. From the email box. I'm going to write that down. So, yeah, from the email box, and then I'll be able to show your stitchy goodness as well. Okay, and your beautiful stitches, because I really want Stitch Therapy just to be a forum where we get to talk about what's going on, send out love, send out kindness, and to also be able to give me a place. Thank you very much for letting me ramble and tell you about things that are happening for me and the things that I'm discovering about my own therapeutic process and about the world at large. So, because listen, we can be in a cave and cross stitch, and the world is still going to be out there, and it's still going to be hard. Right? The world is hard. It's a hard place to live in this world. Right? We're not guaranteed a rose garden every day, but we can count on each other, and we can count on comfort, and we can count on what brings us joy. And if there's one thing cross stitch does for all of us, or else we wouldn't be here together, it's that it brings us joy in the darkness. It brings us peace in the crazy whirlwind. It brings us quiet in the middle of the hubbub. So with that having been said, may you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you come to know your own true nature. May you be well. May you be free from suffering this holiday season and into the new year. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Peace to you. Keep stitching, and we'll see you next time.